Hi, I'm Lucy Ann, and welcome to the Front Porch Knitter. I'm pretty sure this is episode 7. I am on a different front porch, however, one of my favorite front porches to knit on. It is the front porch at my parents' cottage. You can see the lake behind me. It is a great spot to sit and knit. There's 2 levels, lots of chairs, and even though it is, I think, October the 12th or 13th, it is still lovely to be out here. My hair's not dry, but that's okay. I wanted to get this done before we lost the light. So if I'm here, that means I am currently on the East Coast. My parents live in New Brunswick, and I'm here visiting them. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. I want to welcome back all our viewers, and if you're new, welcome. I'm glad you could come, and if you're coming back again, thanks. That means you were okay with it. It's been a crazy week. The algorithm gods have noticed my podcast, my last episode, and my subscribers jumped a lot. So thank you for stopping by and joining me on the various porches I knit on and record on, and thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. So I'm down here at my parents', and my stay's been extended a bit. I hadn't actually planned to record while I was here, so my setup's a little precarious. It's a stack of books and a piece of firewood, but I think we're doing okay. It looks okay anyway from my side of the fence. And yeah, and I don't even know when I'm going to be able to leave, because my parents had COVID. And that now I am testing positive. I have no symptoms, so I'm just, laying low and doing my thing until I can test negative, and then we'll go from there. But I do enjoy being here, but I like it better when I can hang out with my friends and do things. And but I've been getting a lot of knitting done, so that's how it works. So also means I've gotten a lot of things finished, which is crazy, because yeah, some of these things were not even started in the last episode. Well, actually, almost none of them were, because I went on a casting on spree after the last episode. So that's how things work. Yeah. So let's get started with some of the things I finished since we last chatted. I have finally finished my Churferston socks. These were the, I want to say July. I don't have my sock blockers here, I'm sorry. These were the July socks from the Little Red Mitten Operation Sock Drawer Club. And I think the last time I had one done, and I was working on the second one, I actually frogged the first one I knit, because I knit the second one and it was much nicer. My tension was better, and it was really nice. The first one was like an inch wider and then the second one, and so my tension must have been really off when I was knitting on it. So I've got those done. This is Lily and Pine on their Daylily sock. So it's Lily and Pine on their Daylily sock, which is an 80/20 superwash merino and nylon, and the colorway is Papaya. And these are like just so bright, and yeah, they're going to be great to brighten up a winter's day. They have this very interesting heel construction. So you have this purl channel down the back, and the heel construction is the heel increase, like the flap is built into that purl channel, and then you turn the heel, and there's a little bit of a gusset, not much, and go from there. I don't love the way it fits, but you know what? I'm happy to do it and do it once, because now I know I don't love the way it fits. I would rather know than not know. So yeah, I'm kind of happy that I did it. It was fun. And I'm sure they'll get lots of wear in my sock drawer. So that's the first one. Then this is the next, I think this is the next pair. Oh, I might have done them out of order. This is the next pair I finished, I think. This is just a vanilla sock. I love the colors. It just reminds me of jeans and a sweater. Fish Lips Kiss heel. I do the same sort of wedge toe all the time. I really like these. This is a Cascade Heritage print. So a commercial sock. Well, I never know. Is Cascade really a commercial sock yarn? They're certainly a smaller yarn manufacturer. And somewhere between commercial and hand-dyed, I guess, is where I would put them. I really like, I don't know if this colorway is color 35. The beautiful, ever beautiful color 35. And Cascade Heritage prints. And the really nice thing in doing these, I don't think I brought the bag out that these ones were in. Yeah, I still have quite a bit left. Probably enough to do a pair of shorties, which would be great. And I just had, the heel was just a ball of Patton's Croy in Gentry Gray. It's kind of a charcoal color. I think that's pretty true, which is really nice because this is a really sturdy yarn, so it is great for heels. And I just did the heels in this. Sometimes I do like heels and toes, but I did just the heels, and I probably still have more than enough. I don't have my scale with me, so I can't weigh it, for another pair of socks, which would be great though. I also don't have my skein winder here, in case you noticed, or my Swift. So there's some pretty funky looking balls in this process. Yeah, but I really like the way the heel, it's nice, feels nice and durable, and they're soft, and yeah, they're going to be great, which is kind of what we all want. And then the next pair I finished are these. This is my own pattern. I just did it. And I love the way it looks. I don't know if you can see. It's like a shifting rib, sort of. I don't know, it probably has a name. You can see a diagonal line goes up through it. So it looks like it's moving to the right. A little pop of color, contrasting heel, Fish Lips Kiss heel, and my toe I always do, wedge toe. This yarn is, I, for quite a while, had a yarn subscription to Ancient Arts, and I love their Socknado base. Like, I don't know what the base is. It's an 80-20 superwash. It's different than some of the other ones. It's a little heavier, I think, but I really, really like it. And the colorway is Street Art, and you can really see that. If you look at the heel, it's even more. I can imagine this. Wouldn't this be great for like a sock sleeve sweater? Have you seen those where the body is solid and the sleeves are done in a really nice indie dyed sock yarn? This would be gorgeous in a sort of denim colored body with these sleeves, wouldn't it? The green is Timber Yarns. Let's see if it tells me what the Timber Yarns in Green Apple. I love their minis. I love Timber Yarns, and I use it quite often. And whenever I place an, oops, it's all falling apart. Whenever I place an order, it's kind of hard to see now. This is what's left of a 20-gram mini after doing the pop of color heel and toe on a pair of socks. Whenever I order from them, because they do some beautiful striped twin socks, like I just love them. You've seen them on here. I've done quite a few. I always order some of their solids because they're such fun colors. And this apple green or green apple was perfect with these socks. So they're kind of fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna knit these again. This design, this stitch pattern, and see if I really like. Maybe I'll write it up as a pattern. Who knows? But I really like the little bit of texture that it gives. And again, they're so soft, and I need them. This is craziness. This is absolute insanity. I came to New Brunswick at the end of September and didn't bring any socks with me. Not a single pair of socks. I did not even bring pantyhose to wear with the dress I brought. I ended up coming kind of suddenly because we'd had a death in our family and I was coming for the funeral. So I sort of threw my bag together and I drove down, and it is a 17-hour drive, which I break up with an overnight stay. So, excuse me, I guess that's my excuse. I packed in a hurry and it was really nice in Ontario when I left. I brought lots of pants and long sleeve shirts and other things, but I forgot to, I didn't pack any socks. I don't even really have shoes to wear socks with. I can do the Birkenstocks. So it's a good thing I finished those 3 pairs of wool socks because they are the only socks I have with me. I know you can buy socks in New Brunswick, but I don't really want to buy socks. I don't need socks. I have lots of socks, just not here. Yeah, that's my life. I realized I never talked about what I'm wearing, so I'll do that when I'm done my FOs so that we can sort of put it all together. The next one I'm going to show you is, this was my September gnome. Isn't he cute? He's got his little mushroom progress creeper that I used when I made him hanging from him still. This was the Imagine Landscapes did an MCAL, a mystery knit along, in September, and it's I think it was Choose Your Own Gnome, and I'm pretty sure his name is Norton, Mystery Gnome of Adventure. He's like, and it was fun because you could choose what his hat would look like, you could choose the type of nose, you could choose the beard, you could choose the body, you could even choose what his sleeves, his arms would look like. So everybody's is a little bit different, which is kind of cool. And I just, like, I have a bag of minis that when I get minis from different places, and I go, sometimes they were sets that were meant to be gnome sets, which is great. And sometimes it's just I get a mini somewhere and I go, ooh, that would be good in a gnome. And I throw it in that bag and then I make my gnomes out of it. So I don't actually know what any of this yarn really is. I think this blue was from Little Red Mitten did some tastings. So you could do fingering tastings and DK tastings just to find out some of the new yarns they had in. And I'm pretty sure that's where this blue was. No idea where the cream is from. The orange, I want to say Black Sheep Dye Works. It was a gnome set I got. Actually, I won it. If it's that one, I won it in a contest. From them. I will double check, and all the links for all the things will be below, and when I post this you'll be able to go and check, so we don't have to depend on my mind on the fly. But he is very cute. If you just look for, like, I like mystery knit alongs, and I'm happy that this was released on four Thursdays in a row or something like that. So you did a little bit and then you didn't do any for a while, and then you did a little bit more. And it's nice to have as a bit of a palette cleanser in between other things. And I just love them. I mean, if you've been watching my podcast, you know, I just love gnomes. They're so cute. I had a request from my son and daughter-in-law yesterday for a Nutcracker gnome. And I messaged back, Nutcracker the ballet or Nutcracker like a little soldier, and the response was, ooh, both. So I might have to think up some colorways to do that, but that would be fun. So that he's done. I don't have a spot to set him so he can keep watching this. Maybe he can sit here. There. You'll catch glimpses of him over my shoulder. And then I have a lovely little girl in my life who I am her godmother, and she'll be 1 in January. So her mom mentioned that she needed a new hat for fall, and so I knit this. So cute. And I will link the pattern below, but I can't tell you what it is because it's in my phone. It was a free pattern. I do know that. And so I do know what the yarns are. This is just from their yarn leftover balls in my stash. But this is Patton's Classic Wool. Probably in the colorway orange. No idea. And this is Decor. So Bernat Decor. So it's a wool blend. And not the best probably for a baby hat. But you know what? How long is she going to wear this little pumpkin hat for anyway? Not very long. So it's not too bad to hand wash it because the classic wool will felt. The Decor won't, but the classic wool would. But it was fun. You know, I did that in, I don't know, my mom is so funny. She goes, "You have that hat almost done." Did it in like an hour and a half or something. But yeah, it was fun to knit. So it's a little pumpkin hat. So those are the finished objects that I've completed all those since I've been here in the last 2 weeks. And some of them were a lot of knitting and some of them were just a little bit of knitting. What I am wearing is my Autumn League pullover. It by Two of Wands. It is in Lion Brand cotton jeans. And I think this is the light gray. I knit this last summer, so you may have seen it already on the podcast. It is the greatest. I probably could have knit it a size smaller, but it's such a cozy sweater. And I was going to put on, I don't know if you see it on the back of my chair. I also have with me my lightweight Hipster, which I was going to put on because I thought I might need it. But it's too nice out. So this is the lightweight Hipster by Joji Locatelli. And this yarn is from Shirley Bryan Yarns. I do remember that. And it is a camel and silk and wool blend. And I can't remember what the base is called. But I did this last summer too. But this is crazily the warmest and one of the lightest small shawls I have. And I love wearing it. And I love look at it's got this really cool drop stitched crossover sections, a little bit of eyelet, and the rest is stockinette. So it's great. I really do like a lot of Joji's shawls. I love her patterns, and you'll figure that out as we go along here because when I get to my whips, I think I have 2 of her patterns in my whips. So yeah, that's what I am wearing and what I was going to wear. I don't know, is that a thing? What you might have worn? Is that a thing in podcast land? No idea. So, a bit of cast-on-itis and a little bit of shopping. Not much shopping actually, which is a good thing because I have a yarn hoard. I don't have a stash. I have a hoard. It's a bit crazy. So since I last recorded, I did cast on I think these are the August socks from the Little Red Mitten Operation Sock Drawer Club. And these are coming together. Like, I just love knitting on these. The only problem is every row is different. If you can see, it's called mesmerizing, which it certainly is. And the heel increases are built right into the pattern. So it's similar to the Churferston socks. It's like an integrated heel, and it just goes right into the pattern, which is pretty cool. And look at this inside. They're going to be so squishy when I get them done. I did go up a couple of needle sizes on these. These are I'm pretty sure these are a 2.5 or a 2.75, and I can't read it. Addy Flexi Flips, which I love. And look at that, my stitch marker matches my sock, which is pretty cool. And so the Operation Sock Drawer, if you haven't been here before and don't know, that club was a 12-month club. You could buy 6 months of commercial, 6 months of indie dyed, or 12 months and get both. And I opted for the both, including the book. This is the book, Operation Sock Drawer. It was put together with the Knitmore girls, if you follow them. And it is just, you know what it is? It's about trying new things and doing something different all the time. And, you know, if you do something and then you discover that it's not for you, that's okay. I'm trying to find these socks. Oh, here they are. This is the picture. So I'm really excited to get them finished. I think they'll be fun to wear. Now, I only have to hope they'll fit me, because sometimes when I do colorwork socks, they're a little snug. And then my girls end up with them and they're very happy. And this is done in a very budget-friendly yarn. So they're beautiful, and they're done in Superba Premium Superwash. Where's the label? There it is. And 50 grams of each color. And it is 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide. And the colorway is the beautiful 013. It's kind of a, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of a browny gray color. Maybe like a natural sheep color. There might be a sheep this color. And I think this one is 009 is the color. Or, oh, yeah, 009 maybe. Maybe this one is 31. Nope, 13. Their labels are a bit different, but this is a really nice, this is pretty true denim-y blue color. So those are fun, and they knit up pretty quick. It takes longer to read the pattern row than it does to knit the pattern, which is kind of odd in some ways, but yeah, I'm really enjoying working on these. They are not something I can knit and talk. I certainly can't knit and read. I can do a lot of things, and a lot of knitting I read while I'm knitting, but I can watch television or listen to an audiobook and knit these. So I'm pretty excited about getting those done. So hopefully sooner rather than later, because in the last podcast you already saw the wool for the September socks, and I haven't even balled it up yet. It just wasn't a thing that happened before I came. Like I said, it was a quick pack and go, but I am here. And the next thing, now these go back a long way. These are my Huldress mitts, fingerless mitts, that I want to do for everybody for Christmas. And this is Patagonia. I know what the other colors are. So Juniper Moons, Patagonia Organic Merino. And I did the Noncho by Cassiopeia in these three colors last year, the year before, a couple years ago now. It was the little local yarn shop day free pattern at the time. So I had some leftovers, so I decided I wanted to do these Huldress mittens, and they're the pattern's on my phone, so I can't tell you her last name. It's Inga from Knitting Traditions, and I think she's Knitting Traditions or Knitting Tradition. I'm not sure if it's on Ravelry, but I did them in indigo. So these three colors, they're a 3-color pattern. It's indigo, wasabi, and I think this one's just called natural. Do I have a ivory? This is. So these are the 3 colors that I'm working them up in. I have one pair done already, had them done for a while. I've probably already shown them on the podcast. And this is the next pair I'm doing. So it's pretty simple color work. It's a pretty mindless repeat. I have my guide on here for 2-color knitting, and I'm knitting them on my Chalgoos on, okay, don't laugh. Nobody laugh. 3.25 millimeter needles. So if I'm going to get a pair of these done for everybody for Christmas this year, I need to get a wiggle on. And yeah, maybe it'll happen. They are currently in my, I think this is a Bling Your String bag. Yes, this is a Bling Your String bag. It's just a zip top bag, but I love that I can just roll it down and my balls, all 3 balls will sit in the bottom of the bag. It's the perfect size, and I don't have to worry about them rolling all over the room. And now I'm just shoving them in. So the next time I go to work on this, I won't be happy. But hopefully I'll get a little more done on them. I pulled them out. I brought them with me and I pulled them out and I got them started, but I want to get moving on those. So that's another one. This, remember I told you that I have a few Hohi Locatelli things on the go. This is Pure Joy, and I only have the pattern in black and white, but Pure Joy by Hohi Locatelli. And it's a crescent-shaped shawl. Let's see it there. And I am on the last repeat. This is, the yarn I'm using is from Dye Pretty. And it's Frosted Sunrise, which is, this is all I have left. And I cheated. The notes on lots of the projects said you sometimes have to go in. It's technically a 2-skein project, but you might run out of the main color, and so I fudged the last repeat to make sure I didn't run out, because I knew I couldn't get any more of that one, because it was a Christmas box special dyed color. It's not one she usually does, and it is 80/20 merino and nylon. And the other color, the green, is Forest Path on Tiara Sock. They're both on the Tiara Sock base. So Forest Path is the green. I don't know if you can see that. I think so. This is what the green looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? It is just like, it is absolutely beautiful. And I'm so close to being done. I can't really, like, I can hold it up, but you won't get the full effect because my cable's not long enough. But I just love the way it looks. And I don't know, I have quite a bit of yarn left. In the short rows, I am right here, so I have to keep doing short rows for this much more. So I probably have like another 6 or 8 short rows to do. But they're pretty long rows right now. Lots and lots of stitches. And it grows. This is what I love about shawl construction. It's like it's magic, right? The tab that this started from is, it started as like 2 or 3 rows right here. This is where it started, right there. And then it grows and grows and grows and grows. And it's got a garter edge on this side, and it's just really, I'm really loving the way it's going together. Yeah, I love it. I love the green. I love the way it looks. I love the way it is knitting up. It's mindless, perfect movie theater knitting, as long as you can find where the short row switches. But yeah, car knitting, it would be great for that. I just love the way it looks. I'm very excited to get it done. It actually seems, although it was a winter themed box, to me it feels pretty spring-like, but I also look at it and I think, like, won't it just brighten up fall and winter? So I'd like to get that off my needles too, you know, now that I'm down to the last 8 or 10 rows. But it isn't getting done as quickly as I would hope. It also is on, I think, 4mm chow. It's on my chow goose from my interchangeables, and I think it's a 4mm. Whatever the pattern called for is what I'm using. I think it's a 4. Yep. And on a pretty long cord. And this is in, you've seen this bag before. This is a 2 Sticks and You bag I've had for quite a while. Again, I like these taller zip tops because you can roll them down and they make a nice bucket to knit out of, which is great. The next thing is another Hohi pattern. I told you I went on a casting on spree like a lunatic. And it is done in Cascade Hampton, linen and cotton. Cotton and linen, I guess. 70 cotton, 30 linen. And the colorway is 13. I think I had another 13, didn't I? Anyways, it's really nice to work with. I love the way it feels. It is 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, 273 yards, or 250 meters. So I guess that's, I don't know, DK-ish. Maybe a bit heavier. Anyways, I haven't balled this one up yet because I have a whole one here and I have a little piece left, but I finished the body. This is the Cedar sweater by Hohi. Let me get my bag out of the way. It's just in a 31 gifts bag that you see. I love this detail. It just adds a little bit of interest. It's quick, easy knit. It is a round yoke construction. And then at the bottom, it's not at all blocked, but there's a little bit of lace. This is the pattern. I'm pretty sure this is the story. This is the pattern that Hohi designed for Jody from the Grocery Girls, Jody Brown's birthday one year, and her sister Tracy knit it for her. If you watch them, you've seen her wearing hers quite a bit. Hers is like a charcoal black color, or at least that's what it looks like on my TV. But this is just such a great, easy pattern repeat. There's nothing like, it's simple knitting, but it's interesting. Yes, there's something to do every 16 rows, which is nice. And so I have to put the sleeves on, and then it'll be done. My problem is it's cotton and linen. It's fall. I should get the sleeves cast on so it's done and ready to go in the spring, because otherwise, you know what happens. You go in April, you go, oh, I have that sweater that still needs sleeves, and you start on them, and it's not done until June, when it starts to get really hot here in the Northern Hemisphere, and you go, oh, it's too hot to wear this now. So I should really finish it so that I have it done in time to wear when the spring happens. But I love this little bit of lace on the bottom. It's great. And like this one, I think it's going to be one of those sweaters that you just, you pop on a cooler day and go. So that is that whip. Now, I have this whip, which I hesitate to show because I'm doing the Stephen West MCAL. And I know lots of people are not wanting spoilers. And so I'm going to show you, it's the Twist and Turns shawl, or I think it's a shawl. Yeah, it's a shawl. And it's an MCAL. And I am doing it. These are the colors I chose. So this sort of ties into my shopping as well, because I just bought these. Because I have yarn. This is how it works, right? This is how life works. I have yarn ordered, which is at my house in Ontario for this MCAL. But because I left in such a hurry, it hadn't come yet. So I didn't want to not do the MCAL, and I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get back there. So I decided I was going to buy more yarn. So I went to La Violette in Bucktouche, New Brunswick. And if you follow Knit Sip Happy, yeah, I think that's what it is, Nancy, she talks about them all the time. It's her local yarn shop. And it's very close to where my aunt and uncle live. They actually live in Bucktouche. So I went to, I was going to their place on the Saturday before everybody tested positive. Everyone was healthy at that point. I wanted to go visit because my cousin from Halifax was up, and her and I don't see each other very often these days. And so I didn't want to miss her. So I went to their place for the day, and I stopped in at La Violette on the way to my aunt and uncle's. And because I always like to go to little local yarn shops and do a bit of shopping. So these are the, this shawl takes 2 skeins of, so I'll show you, these are the ones that aren't balled up, a main color and a contrast color. So green is my main color because he said to use your darkest color as your main, the lighter color as your contrast, and a pop. And now this doesn't look very poppy here, but when we get further into it, this is like a variegated ball. Not variegated, it like it fades to different colors. So I think that will be interesting. So this is what I got. This is a little bit more of a value version than what I had ordered, but I really like the way these look. And I'll be able to use the yarn I ordered for something else, which is fine. So I'm going to tell you what these colorways are now, and then I will show you the other yarn and talk about what I'm going to do with it that I bought when I was at La Violette at the end. So this is, the green is Heritage, Cascade Yarns Heritage 7525 Superwash Merino in color 5612. Sometimes if you go to their website, these colors have names, but on the label it just says 5612. This is a bit of a finer fingering yarn. Although not really, I guess. It's just my imagination. It feels finer. 100 grams, 400 meters. I mean, it's bang on. So I really like that. And then this is the same in color 5758. Just kind of an oatmeal-y natural color, which I really like. And this is the Cascade Heritage Wave, and this color is 520, and you can't, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but this is there's a swatch. I don't think you can see. I think it just looks like a black blob. There is a swatch that sort of shows how the skein knits up, which is kind of cool. Anyway, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't have very much done. I don't want to give anything away on my shawl. So I'm just going to show you just a teeny corner so you can see how these two colors look together. See that? I don't want to put out a spoiler because this is clue 1 I'm working on. The next clue doesn't come out till Friday. So I will show more of it the next time I podcast, because by then we'll be well into it and everyone will have started, and yeah. So I'm kind of excited about that. And one of the things I'm doing while I'm here at my mother's is, I always laugh, everyone laughs, that I'm the only person in the world who drives 1,000 kilometers to clean out closets, because that's basically what I do. I drive to my parents and we clean closets, and my mom is trying really hard to get rid of a lot of stuff, and it's going well. Last fall we did it for a couple weeks and we got rid of tons of stuff. She's done some on her own, and now I'm back to do the big job, their bedroom closet. And so I was looking, when I started this project, I didn't have a project bag with an empty project bag at that point in time. I do now because I've finished some things, But so she had this basket. You know, it was, I don't know what would have come. It was probably like a Christmas gift basket or something someone gave her with this. So that's where it's living right now. And you know what? It is the perfect basket for a shawl, because partly because my yarn is not in cakes, it's in balls, because I had to hand wind it. So it's in balls. It's deep enough that the balls don't come out as I'm knitting. And yeah, so that's kind of fun. So you know what? You don't have to have fancy knitting project bags. I love my project bags, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing wrong with just repurposing something or using a commercial bag. But I'm enjoying using this basket. And my mom goes, I don't use it for anything, you might as well take it. So I think it's going to come home with me, and will sit nicely on the table where I sit to knit. There's a table right beside me, and there's a shelf underneath, and this will be able to just sit right there, and I'll be able to knit out of it, which is great. Although, you know what happens? You have that there, and then it just fills up with junk, because that is always what happens to an empty basket in the world. So the next whip I'm going to show you, and it's my last one, and I'm going to preface it by saying this is the kind of thing that I really I don't know, like, it's not a project. It's something that, but it does make me feel good. My family, my grandma, like my mom's brothers, and all wore wool work socks. Even my uncle, who's a pharmacist, he wears these heavy wool socks most of the time. And it was just a thing. And men here in New Brunswick who worked in the woods, or were farmers, or who, you know, worked outdoors, were construction workers, whatever, most of them as I was growing up, wore wool work socks. It's a thing. And my cousin, who does a ton of stuff for my parents when I'm not here, which is a lot of, I'm only here 4 or 5 weeks a year. She picks up the slack, drives my mom to her appointments, because my mom doesn't like driving in the city anymore. She also doesn't like driving at night. She doesn't want to drive on the highway. She's 80, right? So my cousin looks after all those things. Right now, since we've had COVID, she's been our gopher. She's been going to the grocery store and picking stuff up for us and doing all the things. Her dad is very much, he's older, but he still wears his wool work socks all the time. He doesn't have any animals anymore on his farm. He's retired, and very frugal. He darns his own socks. Okay, don't anybody laugh. Look at that. See, he darns his own socks. He fixes them. But the darning, like there's now more darning than there is original sock in some of these. And so I hear somebody walking. It's not unusual here for a deer to just walk by behind us. Like, I've been sitting out here and a deer's just walked up the beach. My cousin does his laundry for him, her dad's laundry. And I was at her place and she was folding some laundry, and I saw this pair of work socks. And if you follow me on Instagram, you actually saw the rebuild of them already. And they, they look not unlike this. And I said to her, I can probably do something with those, because he doesn't want new ones, because there's nothing wrong with most of the sock. It's just between wearing them out and the moths, I think, because I'm pretty confident he didn't wear this one out here. This, I am pretty confident, is moth activity. Most of his socks have some kind of holes in them. So I finished one pair already, and I finished one sock of another pair. They're monster socks, because I just cut the feet off like this. Just cut them off. My dad goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I have to get rid of all the bad parts to be able to knit new parts on." And women in here, like anyone of a certain age in this province, will have a bag like this probably. There are 2 full skeins in here. This is Briggs & Little Tuffy Sock. That's what these socks are knit out of. But they will have a bag, or 2 or 3 like this, with, I don't want to show the You might be able to guess what the company is if you see the bag, but it's just a plastic bag that my mother keeps all her bits and pieces in, like all these little bits. So this is what I'm using to rebuild my uncle's socks. And I'm so glad I'm able to do it because my cousin does so much for my parents when I'm not here. This is a small thing I can do for her dad. But let me tell you, there's at least 3 or 4 different women, because my grandmother, although she did knit them sometimes, she often paid somebody to knit the socks for everybody at Christmas. And that's the source of most of these socks would have been my grandmother would have had them knit for my uncles and my dad. And it's interesting because they're obviously not all, they're all different patterns going on, and they're all the same wool, but they're all a little bit different. So every time I cut a foot off, I then have to figure out, okay, what is this? So the first pair I did, which I've already given back to him, they were 45 stitches and probably done on a 3 or a 3.5 needle. Not sure. Anyways, I sort of matched it and went ahead. These ones are only 40 stitches. So I went up a couple of needle sizes. And the big joke is, because my dad and my one uncle have new pairs, like never worn. And they didn't wear them out because my dad was a farmer, and my other uncle, who wears them a lot, my dad is a farmer, and the other uncle who wears them a lot was a pharmacist, retired, now gentleman farmer. They were not nearly as hard on their socks as this uncle, who was a construction worker and wore work boots a lot and stuff. But he also has the smallest feet of all of them. So it's this, and then you have to judge how big to make the sock, because this one's been felted within an inch of its life. So you have to make it a little bigger. I'm hoping I've made it enough bigger that when it felts a little bit, it'll be the right size. But you have to make it up every time. So there's no pattern for this. This is just ladies who knit. And sometimes on the same pair, or what I presume are pairs because they appear to match, the stitch count is different. So anyway, these are the ones I'm working on right now, using up all these little bits of yarn from my mother's stash. And there is nothing wrong with the legs on these, just a little bit pilled, but so I'm just heel flap and gusset. They're all knit basically the same way. This is the one that I finished. It makes me feel good to be able to do it. Is that weird? I don't know. It does. It makes me feel good because it's like someone took a lot of time to knit these socks whenever they were knit, and a lot of their work went into it, and there's nothing wrong with them anymore, but the rest of the sock was worn out. And I don't want to just send this to, I could knit in brand new socks, right? Briggs & Little yarn is not expensive. It's high quality and lasts for, because who knows, my grandmother has been gone for more than 10 years. So, these socks get worn all the time. I think I have 5 or 6 pairs of them here to try and get new feet in them before I leave. And I'm hoping I can get that done for him because, one, it's a small thing I can do for him to balance off what my cousin does for my parents, which is, she doesn't expect that in any way, but I still want to do it. But it also makes me feel good to take what these women, from the past, who are some of the women who knit these socks aren't alive anymore, or they're very elderly and no longer knit, to be able to take their hard work and fix it instead of just throwing it away. That is, it would probably be easier to knit new socks than to rebuild these old ones, but I still think it's important to do it. Yeah, it brings me joy, so that's why I'm doing it. So that is the end of my whips. And you know what? I think that the irony is that may be all. The only other whip I have that isn't here with me is my Cozy Memories blanket, which is done from fingering scraps, like I do it as I go. It's a long-term project. I don't think I have any other whips on needles at home. Oops, we're a little shaky here. It's a very interesting construction, the stack of books I have a beautiful tripod at home. Nope, this is a stack of books and a piece of wood to hold everything together. It works. So also while I was at La Violette, and that is my only yarn I bought because I got COVID. I was supposed to be going to Briggs & Little. I was planning to go to Legacy Lane. I was planning to go to, there's a couple of wool shops in Fredericton I wanted to get to. None of that's happening because, yeah, none of it's happening. It's just the way life is. I mean, I guess if I'm feeling better and am testing negative for a few days, maybe I could go, but at this point it isn't happening. So I also picked up my son, I call her my daughter-in-law because they've been together a long time. They're his girlfriend Mallory asked me if I would knit a little cardigan for her cousin whose baby is due any minute but hasn't come yet, and they don't know the gender. And the pattern I picked is called the Linny, and I will link it below. I would show you a picture, but I'm recording on my phone, and I normally have a second device so I can show you pictures, but I don't have that today. And it's a 2-color fingering sweater, and it's the sizing. I think the pattern size is only 0 to 3 months. So I looked at it and I think I want to make it a little bigger than that. 0 to 3 months isn't very long or very big, but I picked up the yarn for it. And this is irony. My local yarn shop is Little Red Mitten, and the people who own the Little Red Mitten are Jolene and Carrie, who are the dyers behind Leo and Roxy Yarn Co. Although Jolene seems to be doing most of the dyeing right now. I'm not sure what's going on. Didn't ask. And what did I buy? Leo and Roxy Basics in overnight oats. I know it looks very... So this is the crazy part. It looks very similar to the Ivory Cascade Heritage. The price point's about the same. But this, when it was in the skein, was the overnight oats was very noticeably just a little more textured looking, a little more variation, so it won't be as solid. And because we don't know the gender of the baby yet, the second yarn I got, and this is another Cascade Heritage Wave, and I don't see the label for it right here, so it's probably in the bottom of my big bag, but it's teals and blues, and there is some green. You can see there's darker blues in there. So it's a variation of that. So I wanted something that was gender neutral, but not boring. I don't know. Anyway, so I settled on this. I think this is pretty gender neutral. I'm pretty excited to get this started. This is probably the next thing I will cast on, because I don't have enough things cast on yet. Sorry. So I'm pretty excited to get that going. And then whenever I shop at a local yarn shop, I always want to get something that is, local to the area where I am. I've traveled all over the world, and I look for yarn wherever I am, and I always look for yarn that is local to where I am. I brought back some beautiful wool from New Zealand several years ago. I've gotten some really nice cottons in the Mediterranean, and it's interesting. A lot of commercial yarns are actually produced in Turkey, which is kind of cool. It is very hard to find yarn in Turkey, and I think that's because when you travel to those places, you are in more touristy areas as opposed to where the people go and live, and so you don't always think about it, but you have to go a little off the beaten path to find yarn stores. And I have, and they're often just little holes in the walls, and they're fun. But yeah, so I always try to make sure I get something really local. So this is the skein I picked up at La Violette. It is Yarn Indulgence on their Z Luxe base. And it's superwash, merino, cashmere, and nylon. So 70, 20, 10. It feels amazing. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I just really loved it. I mean, the dark green, the green in my Twists and Turns Stephen West shawl, the green in my Ho-He shawl. I have a green t-shirt on too. I used to always be very much a blue person, but I really love these sort of bluey green colors. Really, really like them. So I'm excited to have this gorgeous single skein in my stash. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, though. I'm sure I'll come up with some wonderful ideas. Or, you guys could tell me some wonderful ideas to do with it. I'd be happy to get some suggestions. Because I often just hang on to them for where did I put it? This skein. Sat on my desk for probably 3 years, and I just squished it. That's all I did. I just needed to touch it all the times. It is gloriously soft and drapey. And then, I saw this shawl pattern and thought, oh, that's perfect because it's so soft and it's around my neck. And I actually wear this a lot. Like I wear this with like a black turtleneck and just a pair of jeans. And it's almost like a piece of jewelry. Does that make sense? I guess so. Anyway, if you think of something for me to use my cashmere and wool beautiful skein of yarn for, let me know. I would love to do that. So thanks for hanging out with me on yet a different front porch. It's very quiet here. I hope none of the neighbors hear me talking to myself. That's always what I worry about. At my house there's no worries, and the neighbors are closer than they are at my house, but they're way further away than they are for most people who live in town. But they're still much closer than my neighbors are. And if they hear me talking to myself, they're going to think I'm a crazy lady. That's okay. It's okay. I am a little bit crazy, and that's all right, because I sit here talking to myself about yarn, knowing and hoping that somebody else will be listening somewhere down the road, which is kind of fun. Not a lot of life stuff going on. My youngest son is he's in Jasper this summer. He's been working out there on the golf course at the national park. He's supposed to be coming home the end of the month, but I don't know. I was talking to him yesterday, and I didn't ask him when he was coming home, but he never said. So, you never know. My husband, who was on his own for Thanksgiving weekend because I was here and he was home with the dog. I think he had Thanksgiving on every day with someone different. Sunday, our daughter and her partner had him over. And on Monday, our son and his partner had him over. And yeah, they're vegans. My husband's a meatitarian. So I didn't ask what the menu was, but I talked to him all the way as he was driving back to our place. And he never mentioned that he was still hungry, so I'm assuming he had enough to eat. They're amazing cooks. They just don't eat meat, which is, my husband doesn't think you've eaten unless you've eaten meat. So yeah, he's okay though. I was glad he had somewhere to be. My parents and I cooked a lovely chicken dinner with all the fixins. And I think we're down. This isn't your grocery store chicken. My uncle, one of the ones, not the one who I'm fixing the socks for, but my mom's other brother, raises some chickens, and these are his chickens. We had a small one. I think it was a 7-pound chicken. And for 3 people, that's pretty good. We had roast chicken on Monday. We had cold chicken sandwiches for lunch yesterday. We had hot chicken sandwiches for supper. And today my mom made chicken salad sandwiches. And I think we might be almost to the point that all that's left to do is make this soup. So that's perfect. That's the right amount of Thanksgiving leftovers to have, because you need leftovers because they're almost as good as the meal. So I'm happy for that. And I'm figuring I'm here for a couple more days, probably a little longer. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might see some more things finished up, because although my mom and I are doing lots of things, she is older and
you know, we work for 2 or 3 hours and then I sneak out here to their cottage. And everyone is probably thinking like, how do you just sneak to their cottage? When I was growing up, my parents had a dairy farm. So the cottage is literally 20 minutes away from the house. That's it, because you have to be close enough to be able to go back and milk the cows. So yeah, it was perfect. So I can sneak out here for an afternoon or for a little longer and yeah, just enjoy the space and get a few things done and be in control of the television remote, because my dad watches more eclectic things even than my husband does. So it's kind of nice. Not that I've watched much television. I've been reading a lot. I just enjoy being here, sitting on this porch and listening to things happen is great. I'm glad I was going to record earlier this week, but it was too windy. So I wanted to be out here on a day when I could record outside, because it is a beautiful porch to be on. So thanks if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. And I'm thinking on my next episode, once I'm back home, because I can't do that from here, because my subscribers has just shot up, maybe we'll do a little draw on my next episode. So tune into that too. All the things, like, subscribe, turn on the little bell, click the little bell so you get notifications when I do a new episode. And thank you so much for hanging out with me on the porch. It makes me feel good. And I need to talk to people about my knitting. Bye. Happy knitting, everyone.